Hi, welcome back to my channel, and this video is going to be sharing with you my review on the math curriculum we are currently using. Part of a collab with April from the Simple Rugged Path, and I hope you enjoy this video. And check the playlist down below with all of the participants because I am behind on this, and so there are a ton of videos out and you're going to want to see them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be linking how I do my morning routine with the kids in the homeschool setting. But let's get started with math. Math. Oh my goodness, math. Okay, so I can tell you my vision in math, and I can tell you what we're doing in math, and I can tell you all this stuff, but it doesn't all fit together neatly like a nice fitted puzzle. My vision in math is a lot of like the math in the garden, the hands-on, the way that you can relate to math and seeing it work in our day-to-day lives. It's the Charlotte Mason, right, of math. But what happens is we end up doing more textbook math, and it just is because math really is black and white. There is no interpretation of it out. It is what it is, okay? Science, there's a bunch of elements in there that fit together and have different perspectives. Math, you don't necessarily have different perspectives. It's completely different. You have 1 + 1 is 2. So, again, my idea of math is more of just using... Anyway, I pretty much kind of already talked about that. I have resources at my fingertips to do the kind of math that I want to do, but to be honest, with everything else that I'm covering, math tends to get pushed to the back because I do have something that works and I'm not forced to do the other stuff with them. There's just so much time in a day, folks, okay? So that's what I would love to do. What I am doing is I'm using 2 top resources that we have, and these are really because somebody had them and they're letting me borrow them, or they gave them to me. When I first started out this year, actually let me go back last year. Up until last year, we have been using Modern Curriculum Press's math books. Those are the ones that I grew up with, and so I knew how to teach them. But I don't like consumer math books, things that you have to replace year after year. I don't like that, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do math in such a way that I don't have to do it. And the way that I'm going to be doing it is with this one and Katie and John, the youngest 3. I finally figured it out, right? We are going to be memorizing math facts. We are going to be using dadsworksheets.com. It's a bunch of printables, and it's got 2-minute things where you just fill it all in, you get it done, bam, and then they can move on to Saxon 5.4. Unless I have the opportunity of getting more free math books, right? And with that, to just, bring math again, I really like Life of Fred. I like seeing how math works, even in kind of a, as my husband says, a twaddle setting. He says this is twaddle, and he doesn't like him at all. And I kind of like that it's more inviting. Like, the math is more inviting because of this, and it's given me perspectives that I never really contemplated on. So I like Life of Fred, but I have found that it is difficult to say, or to do more with math just using this. This isn't enough. I do agree with my husband on that. But it's kind of hard to research what people are doing because I'm not creative in that. I don't say, okay, we're going to take this and make it work with this and this and this. I'm not creative that way. But what I am going to be doing, especially with the younger ones, we're going to take these, we're going to read 1 or 2 a week, and we'll be working daily on all of the math facts. Now, there's Waldorf way to do that, and I'm contemplating that. We'll see. Manipulatives, again, are another way to do that. It'd be great. Also with that, I have a bunch of math resources, and that brings in the fun part of math, like the circumference series and things like that. So we'll be using that with the younger 3 in connection with the math facts. And if it's just one or two books a week, then it's 1 or 2 books a week, and that's fine. I'm okay with this now. So that's what the younger ones are going to be using. Benjamin is going to be turning 6 in April, and at that point he'll be officially starting the lessons. Now, with Charlotte Mason, I believe you do it 6, 7. It kind of depends on the child. I think 7 is more of the year 1, but he is dying. He's also a 3rd child, which means he's been listening to the older ones get instruction, so he is more ready to do sit down stuff, and he kind of needs it. He won't be getting a stack of subjects, but that's another video. So my son that was pretty much doing all of these, Steven, my 2nd child, he pretty much was just doing these, and my husband's like, this is not enough for him. And, you know, after a while, I'm like, he was right. It wasn't enough for him. I wasn't sure what to do. Now, my husband said he loved Abeka math growing up. He thought it was perfect. And so, honestly, I got my panties in a wad, and I pitched a fit, and I ordered it and brought it here. And my husband's like, this isn't what I grew up with. I'm like, I know, dear, but it's so great. Let's do it. Couldn't stand it, okay? And that was my slap on the wrist from the Lord. Couldn't stand the book. I knew I wasn't going to, but it was so frustrating to work with this, to the point that I was handing it to other homeschool parents and also teachers. The teachers and I asked the parents, and I said, what grade would you put this at? And they all agreed that it was 1 or 2 levels above of what my son was. And I think I picked up the 3rd grade math book, and they were like, this is 4th or 5th grade work. Then come to find out that somebody I knew that actually did the Abeka, they were in school when Abeka first came out, the principal told all the teachers, hey, this is a whole new idea. They are actually trying to advance students, and the work is going to be 1 or 2 grades above of what they are. There might have been 1 grade above, I don't know, but okay. The Abeka program is meant to be top-notch. It is meant to be for smart students, and that is not my goal in teaching. So I'm done with Abeka. I've never really liked their stuff, to be honest. I know, horrible Christian homeschooling person right here, but I don't really like their stuff, and I don't really like that attitude that they have, and it goes against everything that I think Charlotte Mason was teaching. So again, I got my slap on the wrist for my hoity-toity little temper tantrum there that I did. And at that point, I really had no idea what to do. We went back to Life of Fred, and then I just pushed, you do your math facts. At that point, somebody had emailed me books 4 and 5 of this. Now, I assumed this was going to be 4th grade. And so I kind of held back in giving it to him, but at this point I was like, you know what, we'll just sit and we'll do this together. You know, if that means I have to do every single problem with you, then fine, I'll do every single problem with you. And he is doing so well in this. Again, he's 3rd grade, but a lot of this he can do on his own. He has questions on how to do something, and then he can just take off and do it. So this is what we're using for math, and I love it because it's very simple. The problems, I think they call them masters, so they just bring all of them in to the work over and over again so that you're not forgetting a concept. And this has been working really well for us. It's less stress, kind of low-key, and all that. Now, that being said, this was given to me. It's a consumer math book. But again, that really bothers me. I don't like consumers. Alright. Woo! Again, remember, we started with Modern Curriculum Press, and I grew up with that, and I knew that. Yes, I was homeschooled. I'm a homeschool graduate. So I knew how to work with that, and after that we went into Saxon 5.4. Now, I've read all about Saxon, and this really is one that teachers say is the best. The only time I have an issue with Saxon is when it hits algebra. at that point, my mind shut down, and I spent 2 to 3 years on Algebra 1 crying every day because I couldn't get it. And I've had so many people say that this series is really great for algebra. So I will probably switch to this, and just, at this point, they've been practicing writing in another notebook because you don't write in Saxon. So then they can switch to teaching textbooks, pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry. They will switch to teaching textbooks at that point. But until that point, my daughter is doing Math 5-4, and she's almost complete with this, and before this year is over, and she'll just move on to Saxon 6-5, which I completely tested out of that book. I didn't have to do all the lessons. If there was a test that I got, I think, more than 2 or 3 wrong in, and it was basically the same concept, then I stopped at that point, and I had to do a couple of the lessons to kind of understand that thing, and then I would retest and go on. Now, I think that only happened once. I pretty much remember testing out of the whole book. Sometimes I would read. That's how Saxon works, is you have your lesson, so it's teaching you how to do all the stuff, and then you have a practice, and then you have your problems, which they're usually about 30. This one has 27. I want to say that there's usually about 30 problems plus the practice, and again, it's a mastery skill, so it's they bring in other concepts over and over again. And sometimes I would read the lesson if I maybe didn't understand something, and once I got it, then I would test and be okay with that, and that probably happened half a dozen times. I have a sinking feeling my daughter's going to do the same thing. So she will probably finish Math 5-4 and test out of Saxon 6-5 and be ready next year to go into Saxon 7-6, which I am not prepared for, folks. So that'll be interesting. We'll see if that's true, but that's what we're doing. And at that point, my son should be done with this, and he'll probably, because, again, I have the 5, and he really does like this, I'm probably going to give him Math 5, and then at that point, he should also be ready for Saxon 7-6. We'll see. So that is how I am doing math, and again, when I was, when I was looking at the one math curriculum that everybody recommends for Charlotte Mason Education, and everybody loves it, Math UC, one of the things I was noticing, especially with the first book, again, it's consumer, so I really don't want to pay that kind of money. So the sample pages that I was looking at, your card. I really thought that I could create something just like that, if not superior. And I feel, you know, kind of prideful about that, for lack of a better word. But again, I was just looking at the sample pages, that's the word, and I was like, you know what, I do this already. I already tell the children, please pick up 5 items off the floor. Please find 4 green bricks, Legos, to put away for me. Please find me a sphere. Oh, what's a sphere? A sphere is a ball because it has the dimensions. It's not just a flat circle. I already do that kind of stuff with the kids on a day-to-day basis. And so I think I am going to go and follow this idea that I have. And with my son, we're just going to be starting with math facts. He already knows some of it, again, just from listening to others. We've worked with money, like the kids love to earn quarters, so we count by 5s, we've counted by 10s, we've counted stacks of 10 pennies for 50 cents. This is the kind of math that I think is invaluable, so that they can see how stuff like this works. And so, anyway, I hope this video has been helpful for you and kind of shows you my thoughts on math, especially as I've done a couple other ones and haven't really liked them, like the Becca and the Math UC, my kind of thoughts on those. I will say I've never actually held a Math UC book in my hand. And I don't know if the older ones are better than the younger ones, which also seems to be like when people are raving about it, it is the older ones. So that is what I'm doing now for math. Again, I have a whole set of resources that I can't wait to start implementing the kind of math that I was envisioning when I was thinking Charlotte Mason and math. And again, I am very, I don't get abstract very well, and stuff like this has just been great for me, and I love the life of Fred, as twaddle as it is, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you an idea for math if you're looking for curriculum, if you're trying to see. My daughter is smart. She's that firstborn smart girl, and I know she's going to hit something that is going to be a challenge to her, because it's exactly how I was. I was very smart until I hit a certain grade, and where everything kind of became abstract, and I know she's going to be that way. So that's why I really, really like this kind of stuff for her. Whereas my son is a typical boy, and stuff like this is very, stuff like this is very intimidating and daunting, and he has loved Life of Fred. Loved it, loved it, loved it. This is the kind of thing that he thrives on. The little humor, the just seeing how math works. But the other books that we had, the Abeka and the other things, they just didn't jive with us, and they were frustrating him to no end. And don't get me wrong, anything new is frustrating to him. So I try to give it more time. Okay, let's do a week. Let's do 2 weeks. Once we've pushed 3 weeks and we're still just hating it, that tells me it's probably time to move on. And we have been doing this probably for a month now, and he has not told me a single time that he doesn't like this. It's always been positive. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. And until then, have a great day. Bye.